I wasn't sure if you let me win or not.
Move my jacket and you can sit there.
Well, I don't know.
Just don't be tracking mud in.
Well, listen, you
We're trying.
put me on this carpet, and there won't be much spots.
Yeah, but.
There we are.
All right, I want to call this April 5th, 2024 meeting to order. Will, you want to lead us in pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to apologize, that's the only thing we had to move off today. And,
Tell them about the cameras are broken.
yeah, cameras are broken, cameras are broken in the chamber. I want to start by letting Kevin give us an update. Kevin, the floor is yours.
So, update for the response to the,
Hey, Tom, Kevin, you guys, just 1 second. I'm having trouble hearing. Just give me a second to make an adjustment here.
Do you need a speaker over here?
Well, the microphone is on the camera.
Do we need to talk loud? Do we need to talk louder?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. It's better.
all right.
It was user error on my part. I was trying to stream to my headphones because I don't have hearing aids in. So
Okay, sorry.
we got it.
We want to discuss a few minutes about the update on the tornado that touched down on Tuesday. National Weather Service coming yesterday. They did their survey and they ruled it as a EF2 tornado with winds sustaining 130 mile an hour. It is at the tipping edge of being rated as a EF3 tornado. The tail span ranges from Deepwater Mountain all the way to Russellville, so it's a pretty good span. But the touchdown was about a mile or so through the Hyco Levacy area that done some pretty good destruction and damage. Response efforts overall went pretty well. From the beginning of receiving the calls in the 911 center, the 911 center was really inundated with calls, but calls was dispatch, crews was sent, help was there. We're now into the recovery phase, which are several phases that we've got to take steps on. We're still waiting on guidance on a couple of things on the state level to ensure that if we are eligible for any kind of federal monies or federal reimbursements, we are meeting those standards to be able to apply for those. So we'll be releasing some guidance later on today. We are working with the Solid Waste Authority to get some dumpsters rearranged in that area so individuals can start moving their personal debris from their homes to those dumpsters. There's some Sawyer crews that's coming in to help individuals cut up trees and remove trees off of personal property, open up roadways, and do some other damage assessments. There are more damage assessments that has to be completed across the state. We have not only in Fayette County, but across the state, we have put over 400 damage assessments in the damage assessment system at this time. And we have been in contact with our congressional and local government authorities to try to ensure the importance of getting a federal declaration for our citizens, because it is imperative that they know and understand what the magnitude of this disaster is and the importance of getting our citizens back to a recovered point post tornado incident. So pending any questions from me, I think we have a couple of representatives on the line from the command post there at Nuttall. That if they would like to speak up and add anything, I'd like to go ahead and give them this time now.
I don't hear anybody speaking up, but I have a question, Kevin. With regard to these damage assessments, I recall from the floods that one of the qualifiers to receive aid from FEMA and probably even other parts of the government at the state level, that we need to have a certain dollar amount of damages, and especially to personal property, because we didn't qualify during the floods a couple years ago. And I'm wondering if we need to encourage people, like I personally sustained $100 of damage. I mean, I already had it repaired to my siding on my house. So I'm just wondering, like, if people with small damage like mine should report it just so the overall, even if I'm not seeking reimbursement, so the overall damages meet that number.
Absolutely, man. We're asking anyone who has any type of damage, whether it's to the home, your personal property, anything, to report it, because those numbers can be used to, look at the overall damage aspect of it to be able to delegate whether or not we're going to receive that funding.
You wanna also tell them what else?
So so if somebody has turned something in on their insurance, should they still report it just to get your numbers up?
So if you turn it in on your insurance, we're not allowed to count it because it's a
Okay.
duplication of benefits.
Right,
And it will automatically knock us out of the eligibility of it.
okay, that would be the next question,
Yes.
sure.
I feel like we need to craft a press release or something to advise the public and post on our website, and ask Sheriff to post it on his Facebook and stuff to get the word out to people with those specifics in it. Ruth, can you ask Amy to draft something for us
Yeah,
to look
she's
at?
right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
Anna from Jane Care, what is the process for a citizen to report damages to the county? Is there an online form? Do they call in? Who's keeping track of that?
I'm sorry. Well, is there a way we can turn that up a little bit? I'm having a hard time with it.
Kevin, she was asking about the individual, how they go about that. We have that barcode posted at the fire station. We've been going around giving those out. But is there a way you can post that barcode on with the link on Facebook?
So yes, China, I will actually email you the link from the state that they sent us. And if you guys can share it on your social media and throughout your networks, all they have to do is either go to the URL and put in their information, or they can scan it with their smartphone and it'll pop it up and they can put everything in that way.
Okay, does it give the instructions too on how they can't, if they're planning a claim with their insurance company, they shouldn't report the damages there?
Yes.
Okay,
Step by step.
And it's literally step by step. It's all drop down boxes. It's all yes or no questions. And then there's a couple of places to where they can type in exactly damage word for word in their terms of what was going on and outline everything in there as well.
okay, yeah, we can get that shared with some of our employees. We have a pretty large area to cover, so I think we can help get that out.
All right, I'm going to, I'll be sending that to you here just in a minute. And for those that don't have access to that, you can actually go to info@FayetteCountyWV.gov or FayetteCountyWV.org and submit information there. And then our assistants will call and add that information into the system and talk to you over the phone and add it in there for you. Or if a citizen's having problems, they can call 211 and a operator at 211 will actually go online and assist them as well with putting that information in the system.
Kevin, could you send that or give that information to Amy before you leave so we can put that in the press release? I mean, I'd
Yeah.
like to have it be comprehensive because I watched WOAY's coverage on this and they said, just ask your neighbor to help. And that's one good suggestion, but another, what you just pointed out, we are going to also help, and there are other resources to help people complete those surveys if they don't have the capability to do it themselves.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Hey,
Hey,
Kevin,
Kevin.
this is Rick. I didn't have my microphone available a while ago. Do you want to update on what we have over there right now?
Yes, sir. I was asking if anyone from the command center was on that would like to provide an update.
Yeah, I couldn't get my microphone keyed up here. So just the status update this morning, what the game plan is for the next 48 hours. Of course, last night, looks like we got about 95% of the power back on in that area. They're still working on the rest of it today. Still setting poles, putting lines up, etc. Right now, as best of our knowledge, we have 7 families are displaced. With damage on homes, we have not been able to get to everybody. As far as like Allison said, there's going to be a lot of people in, and it's we've been focusing on the La Vista area, but we know in Brackens Creek it also touched down. We know out there's some damage out at Horseshoe Creek. and maybe in the Anstead area. So we really don't know exactly how many homes, but in our area, we're going tomorrow door to door and see exactly, get the exact addresses and everything for those folks that had damage. Also, we've had a lot of people asking, want to donate, and that's all good. But our goal is tomorrow is we want to go to each individual family and see what their immediate need is and maybe even a future need. Because the last thing we want is everybody dropping stuff off, everywhere that, maybe a family doesn't need a particular item and another family does. So our goal tomorrow, we're going door to door again and seeing what each individual family's needs are at that time.
Rick,
We also have, I'm sorry.
when you are doing that tomorrow, will you please make sure to document names and phone numbers? We are working in the process of getting an in-house case manager to come into the area to work with these individuals who are displaced or has immediate needs, to start trying to get those needs met and try to help them start recovering faster.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we did the other night, I think there was a misunderstanding, of course, Mike Gray, one hats off to him and his team, Tracy and all the Jan Care people for the IC the other night. When it hits your area, it's pretty tough. And, it's great to have friends and family and neighbors and fellow coworkers like that can come in and help on a large scale scene like that. And Josh Davis, when everything we need, he's always right there, make sure it's there, as well as a lot of other people. But we just can't thank everybody enough for all their help and all their effort. I can assure you this is going to be, these are family and friends helping family and friends. I know there's regulations and guidelines we have to go by, but these people are helping each other. With the two of the homes that were displaced, the morning after, we had like 70 people out there with U-Hauls and trailers and trucks, and was able to salvage in about 4 hours 2 homes, personal items. So these people are going to come in tomorrow. We got Team Simple Rubicon coming in, American Baptist Men coming in tomorrow to do, like you said earlier, that removal on their personal property. As far as the rest of it goes, that's going to be up to you guys and the state and et cetera, I guess. But seems like it's going pretty smooth. We do have food stations set up for today and tomorrow. And this is not just for the folks that's just in the La Vista area. For somebody else that might have lost power, just keep in mind, if they've lost power, the food they had is probably gone. So some of these people are low income. They might not be able to afford to replace all this food. So we have that task to take as well. So we're working on that with our list as well.
Okay. I wanted to let you know Chief Gray is on. His last 4 digits of his phone number 1105, and I need you to unmute him so he can speak, please.
He has to hit *6.
He needs to hit *6.
You hear that, Chief? There he is.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I just wanted to say a few things. I was trying to unmute, but evidently technology's smarter than I am. But just to add a few things to what Rick said, and to also copy a few things, I've got to give a big shout out to Josh Davis for everything that he has initiated, brought in there. I mean, Josh got totes, tarps, trash bags, porta-johns. The dumpsters are coming. There's generators, and Josh acted in the position of a fire coordinator without being the fire coordinator. And at this time, the night that this happened, the day that this happened, nobody in this area has dealt with anything like that. And I've got to say that I thought that it went as best as it could with the devastation. And I've got to give a big shout out, it's got to be mentioned, to Tommy Joe Coleman, who lost his house. But instead of going to his house first, he went to make sure there wasn't somebody trapped in a car on Route 60, knowing his house had been destroyed. I just want to make sure that was put out there. That is a chief. That is what a chief does. And kudos to Tommy for all that. The other thing is, I'm disappointed that we didn't have anybody there other than Philip Pike from EOS wanting to know if we needed anything. I didn't see any of the commissioners out there. I didn't get any phone calls from them. And at the point that I assumed command, but that Tommy wanted me to do, take command, I was hoping to hear from him. So our response to these disasters is only as good as our support. And the support we got was, we had law enforcement, EMS, we had fire departments, Rick said, that came in without any even being toned to it. They were wanting to come help, whether it be setting up traffic control or coming down and help dig through stuff, because, you know, we had people going door to door checking on everybody. And I heard you ask for a phone number from individuals. I believe my brother Pat, the deputy chief at Anstead, has all the phone numbers and contact people from every homeowner that they went to. I believe him and Rick Lewis both have some of those numbers. So I just wanted to make sure that, you know, when we have a disaster, we should have a resource center. I know the 911 center was busy, and I know that there was a lot going on, and I thought the 911 dispatchers did a good job.
Absolutely.
And they need to have a shout out. But I'm just disappointed that we didn't have somebody come there with a checklist and say, hey, this is all the contact numbers I've got for anything. You know, we may have needed fuel trucks for an extended thing because there was no power. And if you're going to run generators and trucks with lights, which Oak Hill brought their light tower over, John McGinnis came over there from Nicholas County, sent us portable generators with lights and light trucks and light plants, coordinated getting us food. You know, these are things that firemen shouldn't have to take care of. So I just got to say I'm very disappointed in the response from the EOC and the commission. And I know this is not about that, but at some point we got to start realizing these fire departments, EMS, and law do a good job, and we need the support to help us with things that we shouldn't have to worry about. And I'm good now. Hello?
Is that it?
Steady state now.
Is that it?
Yeah, he said he was good.
Okay. Anything else?
Hey, Chief, I spent about 7 hours there going door to door, talking to people. So don't say the commission wasn't there when we were. Thank you very much.
The commission wasn't there the day of, is what I said. I know you were there. I saw you at Nuttall's fire station.
Okay.
You know, I'm not gonna go into what I did, but, you know, I don't think I should have to do that. You have no idea what I did. I'm not gonna go into it.
I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is you don't have any idea what we did.
I don't have any idea what y'all did. Okay, Mike, that, whatever, that's fine with me. I mean, if you don't think I know, that's fine.
Well, I'm glad that's fine.
Well, I mean, I guess my comment is, and I would like to talk to you more about getting feedback on how we might do things. But we have an emergency manager, and he was there, and Philip was out there helping him as the deputy of the 911 center. So that is the commission's contact as far as emergency management.
I never saw Kevin Walker out there.
Well, he's definitely been working this because there's a shelter set up.
He was not there that night. And I don't want to get in an argument over this. I'm just stating facts.
Well, you're stating your perception of the facts because we've all been busy on this behind the scenes while you guys are on the scene. But nobody, you have my number. You texted me when you couldn't get on the Zoom call, but you didn't text me if you needed something, which you are obviously welcome to do. So, you know, we need, you know, if you're having concerns that night about something and you need something, because this is the first I heard that you were running things. I heard the command post was at Nuttall. And I assume the fire chief at Nuttall was running that command post, given the way you guys normally structure things. And Kevin was in touch with them there.
Mike has run things, he runs things at the scene that night. We do have a command post at the Nuttall Fire Department. And, but do you know what's going, do you or Tom knows what's went on in the last 48 hours? Do you know anything about what's going on over there right now, what the status is? Does anybody give you an update other than this morning?
Kevin gives us all updates.
Okay, so would you care to share with me the updates that you know about?
No, I'm not gonna go into all that.
It's because you don't know probably. But anyway, I agree with Mike. We need some more support on that. And you know, not only because it's an election year, but these people need to know that we're behind them in our entire county. Not only our first responders, but the community itself. So now I guarantee you Monday when Baby Dog comes in, we'll see everybody there Monday, I would imagine, but I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yep.
Well, I mean, again, you know how to reach us, and it's not like we weren't doing things. I don't want to get into it a lot of detail either, but I know that Commissioner Luisos had reached out about the National Guard. I know he reached out to the Boy Scouts about getting water buffaloes for the areas that need it, because that area wasn't the only area, as you know, within the county. So there were other places that we were servicing with stuff like that. But, you know, I understand you guys have some concerns, and I do want to hear them out in case there are improvements we can make to our processes. But I want to remind you that communication works both ways, and you do know how to reach us. You know, I'm concerned that I hadn't heard anything until now, but I'm glad I'm hearing it now.
Okay, we need to get back to what the actual concerns and what's needed now on the call. So are there actual things that need to be taken there or that people need right now at this point in time?
Well, other than, like I said, Josh has been overwhelmingly just helped us. Anything we need, we call him. Of course, you know, I'm the deputy chief there. I don't attend a lot of y'all's meetings. I'll let of course, Tommy and Mike and the rest of them take care of that. But I have no idea why we don't have a fire coordinator. Because it's obviously over the last 48 hours, we've had one that, like Mike said, hasn't got paid. This boots on the ground, that knows exactly what we need and how he can report that to you guys. So right now, I guess our biggest needs are, we'll know more this afternoon or in the morning. Like I said, we got teams coming in. We're gonna need a place to put all this stuff. You know, I know that the families, if they take their own stuff to the dump, they have to pay for it. That's what we have to do. I guess that's what they have to do, and maybe get reimbursed somehow. But you know, the cleanup process of the personal items is going to be up to the family at this time. I know from my experience working with the flood, it is a process, and you know, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this, that myself and as long as Anstead and Raynell, we logged all of our hours, our man hours with FEMA the last time I turned it in and wasn't reimbursed very much. But I do know a particular organization that got a lot of money and didn't really distribute it the way I thought it should have been distributed, but that's another story. So that being said, tomorrow we got a lot of people coming in for tree removal and debris removal. And we're going to go to each individual house and see what their needs are and so forth and so forth. And then I guess what we'll do is report back and see if you guys can assist us in any way.
Okay, all your funds should go to Kevin Walker so he can distribute to us. So
correct.
List to work off of.
Yep, correct. He's been very helpful with that.
Okay, is there anything else on that one?
Do you have any questions for us?
No, just the immediate needs for now.
Okay.
Okay, what about the dumpsters?
So the dumpsters, we're waiting on the finalization on each one. So debris management is a very sticky, slick slope. If it is a joint dump site, it has to be a monitored dump site, meaning somebody has to be there seeing every piece that comes in. Everything has to be sorted. It has to be in certain piles a certain way in order for it to go through the process for FEMA reimbursement. Now, if someone is taking their personal items out of their home and taking it to the dump, that's going to be on them. They can save the receipts, and if there is a FEMA declaration, that is something that they can use to request reimbursement through after that process. But to have a temporary dump site, we're still waiting on the approval from DEP. That location has to be determined by DEP on a secure dump location to be staging the debris. The roll-offs should be coming in probably tomorrow, as soon as we pull the trigger on it to put them in strategic locations, which, Rick, you know the area of the biggest hit areas. So we can place those in certain areas throughout La Vista and the Haco area to where people can take them and put the stuff in. And also our solid waste and litter control person will be there working as well and monitoring that situation.
Also, just to point out to you guys, this is a very bureaucratic, and I'm sure I can tell what you're thinking because we went through this with the floods. This whole FEMA declaration process is very bureaucratic, and as you already pointed out, you've had some experience with their nitpicking on what they're going reimbursed, no matter how well documented it is and how many hoops we jump through in advance to document it for them. And these dump sites are one of those things. So for the flooding, this commission had set aside some money to help with reimbursements, and I imagine that we will probably set up a similar process to help our citizens as a result, who were affected by this disaster. But we need to gather information first. But the good news is we already have a process that we're using for the floods of 2015. We were late in coming because we thought they had some money coming from Smithers and other sources that got reallocated to other things. So we had to get on that a little late, but now we have that process in place so we can activate it for this. And that's why we're gathering data ourselves in addition to trying to inform the FEMA disaster survey and the state disaster management people.
And yeah. Anybody
Yeah,
else?
there are some people, there's somebody who's trying to speak who's on the phone, I think.
It looks like it was Josh, but he was asking about dumpsters but he said that question was answered. Was there somebody else? If you type it in chat?
No, I think that was the one.
Okay.
It was about dumpsters.
So Kevin, just let me, let's look at these dumpsters the roll-offs and dumpsters that come in. So what you're saying, we can go ahead and fill those. They just can't be dumped at that time, right?
Absolutely correct, sir.
What
Okay.
about separating the stuff though?
It has to be separated. So the white goods have to go with white goods, the metals have to go with metals, and wood with wood.
Right.
Don't they separate that at the dump site?
No. No, so when those roll-offs come in, the roll-offs will be set up in order. So one roll-off will be for white goods, one roll-off will be for certain debris, but we're going to try to label them that way everybody knows where they're at. And then there should be just a regular general debris trash as well.
Well, Kevin, doesn't the DEP have to approve the site and all kinds of other ridiculousness?
DEP has to approve the temporary dump site, which means that we are creating an open dump in an area and starting to stage debris. When we bring in the roll-offs, we're just bringing in construction roll-offs to put in debris and collect that debris from.
Kevin,
But
during
Go
flood of
ahead.
16, you remember how long it took to get a designated dump site?
Yes.
Yeah, it took forever.
Or you're looking at 8 months is what it took, and it was in Charleston.
Well, even for the flooding in August, it was several weeks. It was two or more weeks.
So I'm in communications now with our FEMA partners and the DEP, trying to make sure that this is done correctly and that there are no goof ups on making anything ineligible for a declaration, because like I said, there are certain stipulations on the debris management side that you have to follow under the FEMA debris management guidelines. And if that is not followed to the T, the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and everything's perfectly in line, they're automatically going to rule it ineligible and determine us not getting any kind of reimbursement back at all, whether it be fire, law, EMS, because every response agency, and it's just not the debris, every response agency that was on there who has man hours tied up in the incident is eligible to recoup that money and eligible to get monies back for reimbursement for their man hours. But one technicality makes us not eligible for anything. So that's the importance of making sure that we're doing this right. And it can even, and to be honest, it can even run the risk of individuals not being eligible to get individual assistance to help them rebuild their lives or their homes or fix and repair their place. So once again, very slicky slope.
Kevin, I know there was a state meeting this morning, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but for FEMA to declare, to do that declaration on the big part, the state total has to be about 35 homes, have 35 displacements. Am I correct in saying that?
I did not get to get on that call because of this, but I will get more information and give that to you.
Hey,
So,
if the dumpsters have really specific guidelines, is there a possibility of a volunteer to like man the dumpsters to make sure that what's being put in them is, I'm sure that there's a lot of people asking to help. If there's a way to manage the dumpsters to make sure that only what's allowed to go in there is put in the dumpsters.
So actually what you're talking about, they're called debris monitors. And those debris monitors, their role and responsibilities is to make sure that everything that's being brought in is A, related to the disaster, and B, being properly put in the correct containers that they're supposed to be in. So yes, that would be actually, and if our litter control guy is going to be there full time, that's actually his responsibility as the solid waste person. He is supposed to know how to separate, pack, and portion those items.
Is that what his role is going to be? Is that started or is that in the works to start?
We have not started debris management yet. That should start today and later tomorrow.
Kevin, what's the total number of dumpsters you think we can get in there?
Rick, I've been told they have up to 30 available if we need to bring them in, but they're going to have like 10 available at one time and more ready to roll. So as soon as one's loaded and packed, they'll bring another one in and drop it off.
So do we have a staging area if they can come and move that dumpster until we get a debris?
That is why I have to get with you or whoever's going to be there so we can predetermine that. Because as we said, it's widespread and we just don't want to have one. If we can keep it at one centralized location, good and well. But if we have that many dumpsters and can put it at multiple locations, it might be a better thought. But then
No, what I'm saying is they bring, I don't know if it's like a room thing. If we fill up 15 dumpsters or roll-offs, are they just gonna leave them set there, or can we move them to a centralized location after they're full until the debris management place is designated?
From my understanding, and I cannot give you 100% answer on this because solid waste's words are, we have 30 dumpsters. We have 10 ready to go. When they're full, we'll bring you 10 more, take those, and bring you 10 more, take those.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're going to have us a continuing run of trucks, should I say? Because they're going to have to go to probably the Raleigh County landfill. So by the time they pick up, go to Raleigh County, come back, it's going to be a little bit of a turnaround. But if they've got us a running of trucks that keeps that going, then I think we'll be okay. But if it's only one or two trucks, it's, just like 16. One or two trucks was hauling to the landfill and it was almost 2-hour turnaround time.
Right. Now, what about the debris on we're talking about personal debris right now. What about the debris? Let's like on the side of Route 60, all the way up through there that, the metal, will we be able to pick that up as well? Or is that something that has to be?
No, that can be picked up as well and sorted and picked just like anything else.
Okay.
So are they dropping the dumpsters off tomorrow or?
Once I call solid waste, or
Okay.
solid waste president, or whoever you met his name,
And I think Josh is asking, are the trucks running tomorrow to move the full dumpsters? Yeah, the dumpsters.
we'll have to
Okay.
work that schedule out. Because like I said, that is gonna be a contract outside of us, that's to solid waste. Solid waste is doing this, they're bringing stuff in, they're running that part of it.
We have. He said they have 200 plus people coming in and they're coming if we want them to or not. And people over there are going to clean up.
They don't want to mess up the reimbursement.
Yep.
I mean, that's. I don't know.
Well, let me ask this question. I agree. I agree with what Tom just said, but I want to ask this question because this frustrated me so much before. What exactly, what kind of dollar amount are we talking about? What kind of reimbursement are we talking about? If we have volunteer labor coming in and doing the cleanup, so we're not talking about National Guard, we're not talking about anything else. Is the only cost we're looking at the cost of renting the dumpsters and hauling the debris?
So Fayette County, the county itself, the solid waste authority, or the solid waste group is the one who has offered the dumpsters. From my understanding, they're the ones who's paying that bill.
I don't think the problem is having to separate and account for in order for people to get the reimbursements or whatever. I think that's the big issue. I didn't want to say anything, but I think that's the big issue in this thing. It's not about us paying for dumpsters or who's paying for them. It's the process in order for everybody to get money, refunded or money back.
You mean for any kind of reimbursement? If we don't account for our degree properly, we're not going to be eligible for getting help for people to rebuild their homes.
Yeah, anything like it, yeah. I don't want to say too much, but I mean, that's really what it's all about. Now, if everybody
Okay.
care, I mean, get as much dumpsters out there, hauled off as quick as you want. The process is what kills it.
Yeah, I mean, I want to give this feedback when you guys have contact with our federal representatives when they show up at the command center and stuff. I suggest you guys, anybody who talks to them, raise all this FEMA bureaucracy that really hinders small communities from even cleaning themselves up when they're hazards like this and like with the flood. Like we're unable to clean up our communities because we have to wait for all these boxes to be checked just so individuals can get help for which the organizations were created to provide. Do we have any other needs out there right now that you need to tell Kevin about?
Rick and Josh, Kevin Walker's gonna send you guys a copy of paperwork that needs to be followed.
So you better understand why everything has to be the way it is.
Josh said he's good. He doesn't have anything else.
Yeah, Tom, I 100% understand that. I worked with Kevin and everybody with the flood for a whole entire year and a half back in 16. I'm very knowledgeable of the process, but what they're not knowledgeable of is, again, this is a small community that watches out for each other. They're going to help each other in any way they can, and getting them to understand they have to wait for outside assistance sometimes is very difficult to get across. So that's why tomorrow there's a lot of folks coming in from churches, individual groups. I'm not bringing them in, but they are coming in, and they're going to go to each individual family's homes, and it's their property. And they'll ask if they can assist them in any way, and that's probably what'll happen tomorrow. So that's why we're, Josh and myself, we're trying to get these dumpsters in here, and Kevin, I know he's worked on them. I do understand the process, and I know sometimes it's a lengthy process, but these folks they've been out working diligently in the cold weather. And we've had every season in the last 48 hours, including hailstorm, snow last night, low temperatures, warm temperatures, rain, tornadoes. So they're all working together, and tomorrow's going to be a big day. I do appreciate all y'all's efforts and any help you can give us.
Anything else?
So
I got one more thing and then I'll shut up. I want to reiterate what Mike Gray said about the 911 dispatchers, Tanya and Philip and all their crew. There's 3 or 4 people down there, 5 people, and toning people out multiple. That's a hard job. People just don't realize how hard that is. And they done a heck of a job. Our tower was down because it got hit. It wasn't a backup generator on the Golly Tower. I don't think so. But they've done a fabulous job. Again, to Mike Gray and his team, Jan Care, Tracy and Jan Care, their whole team, Missy, took command over there before Tracy got there. It was just a well-oiled machine. John McGinnis, Nicholas County, didn't hesitate to come over. It was just a great effort from a great community, and we really appreciate it.
That it? Nothing else?
yes, there are a couple things. One of the things Alan brought up is the electrical inspections for people that lost the power. And did you say roof?
Roof.
So he suggested maybe we should waive the fees, and I agree with him.
I agree 110%.
Like the electrical fee, the county can absorb that because we pay an outside
We have
person.
paid somebody, okay, we pay
Yeah.
somebody else, but that's fine. I think you should.
As long as it's tied to the disaster, I think you should waive that.
It's not on the agenda now, but we can put it on
Yeah.
the 16th.
Well, it's
It's on the agenda.
It's just a generic agenda, so.
What was it, Ruth? I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Electrical and the roofing inspections where people usually have to pay.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that to me.
Yeah, waive those fees, and the county can absorb the cost that we pay to the electrical inspection company. It's like, is it 85 or $85 per home to the people affected by the disaster?
Well, I make a motion to approve waiving the,
Then we can only go, so far, I mean, like a month. If you don't have your power.
Being made, so you have to.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tom.
I made a motion to approve waiving the fees.
Second.
Waiving the fees for,
Roof and electrical, is that right, Alan?
The roofs, electrical inspections tied to the disaster.
Yeah.
Correct. Second.
All in
and
favor?
how do we, wait. Let's just make sure we have a stipulation of how we know. So those that have been reported to Kevin?
Well, there should be a list on the serve 1, 2, 3, or what, the serve 1, 2, 3. There should be a list of them available for Alan to go and check.
Okay, so we're limiting it to those that are on the list.
Well, I've had several people call about electrical service. The tree pulled my service down the other night and they're getting it worked on now. And I'm telling my guys to go on and do it. And we're not going to charge them. We'll do a permit so we can keep track of it. But we won't charge them a fee for it, and the county will just have to absorb the fee for Mike and Jason. But I think we only take it so far out, that.
Time wise.
Yeah, time wise.
Well, if they shouldn't put it on the list, then they should.
Well,
somehow it should be put on.
If that list is out.
Some do, some don't.
I mean, I had 3 people that had power restored, did their work the past 3 days. I'm sure they're not on the list.
No, they're not on the list. You're right.
And some
Yeah, I mean-
people who have the conduit pulled off their house, they're not gonna think it's anything big to have to report.
Well, you'll know. I think Ms. Taylor's want to know how we make sure. that
We'll,
it's
we'll
not-
do a case by case basis and look at where it was at. And most time, will give you a trouble ticket number. It's 4-digit number. If they give them a trouble ticket number, that means there's something wrong with the service that the storm took out. And we'll take that number, just keep a file with it, so we'll know exactly how many we have.
Is that good with you, Ms. Taylor?
Yep, that's fine with me. So you've got a motion and a second on the floor.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And then the other thing I talked to the sheriff about yesterday was all the people like the 911 dispatchers, maintenance, the deputies, all the ones that were out working in it. He asked about overtime, and I mean, I think they should get overtime because they were out working during the state of emergency and a lot of other people went home.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have John in the house before, I don't have a problem with it. It's federal. If anybody works, they're supposed to be paid.
Well, they're getting paid, but I mean, I think they should be paid time and a half. Kind of like our call out policy, if you get called out, you get paid time and a half for it. But I also think maybe that's a policy we need to look at for like a state of emergency situation. Maybe just make that the norm so you don't have to have a meeting and vote on it each time. What are your thoughts?
Those hours can
Well,
be tracked and
Right,
it's considered force account labor
right.
through FEMA. I think funds can be reabsorbed on that. as
Right.
well.
Well, I've given some thought to this, Ruth, since you talked to me about the overtime. And the thing is, I thought about that, if we did declare a state of emergency, which would have no legal effect for the state purchasing laws, but would have effect for something like this, that's one thing. But then we have maintenance people who are responding to emergencies that aren't as large scale. We have 911 contingencies that aren't as large scale that also would qualify under something like this that we would have to consider. So I think whatever, if you feel like it can be encompassed largely by policy, then I support that. But I was just thinking of all the other situations where we have people who should qualify for overtime due to flooding at the memorial building or whatever we have going on.
Well,
To make
that's
sure
already
that
our
that's-
policy. Like when maintenance gets called out for that, that's already a policy. Anybody that gets called out for something like that, they get paid time and a half.
Well, what
Like,
about
some of these
over?
people, some of these people, it's their regular shift. So that's what you have to consider. They're working their regular shift. And if, if you don't want to, sheriff said he'd offer them comp time anyway, so either they get comp time or time and a half, but however y'all want to do it.
What do you mean working the regular shift? I'm confused.
Well, I mean, like the dispatch, the people that were working were probably already there. It was a regular shift. And they were there Wednesday when the courthouse was shut down. And they're also working in the middle of.
Well, I mean, I don't think they should get time and a half for working their regular shift, but I think if they're working above and beyond their regular shift, like when you mentioned due to staff shortages and things, we have people working hours they wouldn't normally be working. To me, that's different.
Okay.
So we're talking about overtime for, salaried people and other people
No,
who've
I'm
been
not talking
working.
about salaried people aren't entitled to it anyway. I'm talking about your people that are hourly people, not your supervisors.
If they work extra, yes, they should receive their overtime.
If they work extra, but not if they're working their regular shift.
Giving y'all the info and y'all need to decide.
Your thoughts?
I mean, I think they should be paid.
They're paid.
For working,
You want them paid their regular pay for working their regular shift, or do you want them paid overtime hours, basically, call out hours for working their regular shift during a disaster?
So they're being called out.
No, they're working their regular shift.
Why would we pay them
Why
time
would-
and a half?
What about the people that's being called out?
The people that get called out get time and a half, like maintenance came in yesterday, was that yesterday? Whatever day it was, because the elevator pit was flooded,
Day before yesterday.
day before yesterday.
Yeah.
So they do get call out hours,
And plus they went to pick up
Dunbar,
the tarps and all the other stuff for.
right,
Well, I think anybody that works that is not scheduled to work should be paid time and a half.
well, they would be. The sheriff was suggesting all the people that work their normal shift,
I think sheriff's doing it anyway. Didn't
they get paid. But he said if you don't want to pay them overtime, he'll give them comp time either way,
he? Okay. So we're mainly talking about deputies.
and 911 dispatchers. He's will do it either way, 911's not.
Can you find out what that would cost? Doesn't matter though. Okay. 2 days?
2 days.
Is that our standard procedure?
We don't have a standard procedure.
Okay.
We have a standard procedure for call outs. We don't have a standard procedure for people working in a disaster.
So if we make a decision on this today, we can either come up with one or not. come up.
Later, yeah, there needs to be some type of policy, I think. Because I feel like we've discussed this before.
I can't remember it.
We have discussed it before,
There you go.
We discussed it in August.
but we have our employee manual, and I don't remember when I was editing it, seeing that policy fully fleshed out. I mean, we were working on it, but I feel like that's where we need to put it.
Oh, I agree. But that's not done, so this is,
Well, I make a motion to approve it this time and then either implement it into the handbook or do not implement it to the handbook.
Approve what this time? Overtime for people who were called out, or overtime for people who were already scheduled to work?
People was already scheduled to work.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
I'm opposed.
Okay.
that's all I have on this.
What's next?
Next is your special session. So do you need to adjourn this session and start your special session or what? Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the session on the storm updates.
Stand by. I realize this is disjointed because I'm not there, but are we going to issue a press release with all that information?
I think that's what we was working on.
I'll have to work with Kevin. Amy's gonna work with Kevin and get all the info that needs to go out.
Okay, and then you'll send it to me to edit, right?
Yeah.
Always.
So I move that we approve issuing a press release based on the things we discussed earlier in the meeting.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Now motion to adjourn.
Yeah, motion to adjourn the first meeting. Get started on the second.
All right, I guess we'll just open the second meeting up. Still April 5th, 2024. Regarding well, I guess we'll do vouchers and invoices first.
Any anomalies on?
The only thing that was different was the one to the city of Oak Hill, that's that
Celebrate.
Celebrate.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second, all in favor?
Wait,
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ms. Taylor, go ahead.
I haven't seen him.
Oh, can you
Did y'all
email,
email?
can you email them to her real quick?
Is Gia on there?
She's on the phone with somebody.
Okay.
Okay, Wilbur will send it
Just
to
a
you.
second, Ms. Taylor.
I can tell you, most of them are just stuff like, our Office of Technology for email and, or Google and all that through the state. West Virginia, SharePoint.
Well, let's just move forward, and you guys go ahead, and I'll abstain from that one.
We'll wait to,
Yeah, we can
we
wait.
can wait. We'll go ahead
He
and go.
just sent them.
Okay, I'm
You wanna
looking for it.
wait a second while you look at them.
All right. You want to move on to something else on the agenda while they're just a small number.
Yeah, it's
okay.
just stuff that's
Yeah.
time sensitive.
Now, is that Cellbrite for Oak Hill? Why are we paying that for Oak Hill if we're subscribing ourselves?
You would have to ask Wes to explain that, Allison. It has something to do with them holding the license. And Wes gave me a Wes answer and it was really long. So,
But this is what we approved at that last meeting.
yes, that's just the
Okay.
check for it.
Okay, I'm fine with the vouchers. I was able to look at them.
Did we already go through a motion in a second?
I need the motion. Or-
No, you said.
Yeah, motion
yeah, you
second,
did.
so all we have to do.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The additional congressional, directed spending. Ruth, do you want to explain what we're looking at?
So the sheriff, and I really haven't done a whole lot with this. Amy has done it.
Well, Amy, do you want to explain it to us?
The sheriff put forward, 3 applications that he wanted, one's for a SWAT tactical van. Another is for 5 cruisers and another is for, portable radios. The amounts, hang on, I've got a picture for you.
Looks like 161,000 for the transport van, 340 for the cruisers, and 27,000 for portable radios.
Yes, so I've created 3 different applications for those. Ridley and Cypress had already done all the quotes, got those for me, and they have support letters ready to go. Just needed you to approve that it's okay that we put those applications in, and then we have 4 total applications now that need prioritized, 1 through 4.
Well, I think that
The memorial building, I think, is your priority.
I think the Memorial Building should be priority. I don't know how the other commissioners feel about it, but I think it should be priority.
And I've put, based on Cypher's, a discussion I had with him, they're on that list in his priority order for his 3 applications.
Okay, so let me just make a comment, because anybody who's talked to me about this knows that that I had some concerns about asking for additional funding for cruisers after the sheriff said that he was set. But I texted him this morning and asked him for clarification, because I said I was going to, if he were able to attend the meeting. He clarified that he was talking about when he said at our meeting that he had enough cruisers, that he was talking about his deputies. He said his crime scene investigator, his transport folks, his detectives, that their units are not good. And that was the reason he was requesting this 5 more. So I wanted to clarify that for the record before we vote on it.
And he's asking for, Ford Explorer police interceptors. That's the make and model.
Plus, we're not
Right.
going to answer back on this until probably next year, or have the funding for it.
Correct, and then this will also, I mean, I think they've had trouble keeping spares down there too, that are in good working order. So if something's in the shop for something simple, for a brake change or whatever, they'll have something that's a little bit more roadworthy as a spare to, hang down.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve all 4 congressional, spending requests, but making Memorial Building priority number 1
And
in
then
this request.
number 2 is the SWAT van, number 3 is, are the cruisers, and number 4 are the, portable radios.
Correct. That's
And
okay with the commission.
Yeah, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we got a approval for the bid for the,
wait, there's a
Their
letter.
support letter.
oh, I'm sorry.
This is the Wilderness, what is this?
Institute.
Swiftwater,
Rescue Institute.
yeah, Swiftwater Rescue Institute support letter for ACE, right, Amy?
Correct.
It's just a support letter for you guys.
I didn't see that on here, but I guess not.
I think it was talked about before.
Yeah, and we just had to postpone it till now. to
Oh,
get it
okay.
signed.
Yeah. And I don't have a package, so I haven't seen anything.
Email that to her real quick.
Yeah, I thought it came from Allison initially, or I sent it to y'all before.
Here.
Maybe still send it.
We got time for you to look at it, Miss Taylor.
Okay.
And then the last thing on there while she's sending that was that we had a bid for the memorial building repairs. It was the only bid for the library side of the memorial building. If y'all can approve that bid so they can move forward, it was,
82,000, and this is everything, this will fix the library side, and then our congressionally directed spending application is for the rest of the north side and everything else on the building. So it ties into that, but we gotta get that fixed immediately. And I referenced that we're fixing it in our application to show them that we're serious about it.
I thought that we approved the bid
I think you did-
pending approval through,
I think
we were gonna have it reviewed, yeah.
she added to it because it was another week. They gave us, and correct me if I'm wrong,
He's
Amy.
talking about the bid.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I
no,
think you-
the other bids that we received are gonna have to be redone.
For the
Annex.
Yeah.
For the annex.
All right, we got you clarified, okay.
then I'll motion to approve the bid for the, Fayette County Memorial Building.
Wait, I'm confused. I had the same, I know we keep going through this, but I had the same recollection that John did about having done, I think even if we have only one bid, don't we have to have a publicly noticed bid opening in the same part of the process?
You did open it. And
Well,
you
that's what I thought. So, okay, so this is what are
just
we
to
voting
approve
for?
it. Cause usually, we had that other bid opening and all the bids were opened, and then this one wasn't officially voted on. It was just.
Oh,
open and
I see.
noticed. Yeah.
Okay, well, I second John's motion then.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I knew that we
And-
said something for review.
The company that got the masonry part of it, because there are 3 companies involved in this, they're the ones that actually got the bid for the sheriff's building, which is going quicker than they expected, and he said that, they can basically, once they finish up here, they can just move over to the memorial building and get started.
That's great news.
Yeah.
We'll just vote on Ms. Taylor.
Yeah, I just got the letter, so I'm looking
Take
at it
your
now.
time. I got all morning.
Okay, I read it.
Were you okay with it, Ms. Taylor?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Make a motion to approve?
And Allison, can we stamp your name?
Yes.
Okay, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, is that it, Bruce?
That's it. The other support letter was for Ross, but since I always, pick the interns and stuff, I just sent them a support letter. The Ross Workforce Program where we get the interns,
Mhm.
they're applying for more grant money, so hopefully get more interns.
Motion to adjourn? All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Aye.